Sofia and Steve. We're not doing our regular recording. We're just doing one from the desert here, and as you may see, we're actually on a camel. Here we go. On a camel ride. So, yeah, welcome to Sofia and Steve, desert style. Anything to say to your class?
I really miss you back in Australia, and I wish you could be here with me on a camel.
Welcome to Sofia and Steve. This is, I think, our fourth edition?
Fourth, yes.
Fourth edition. So thank you for watching the other three. And here we go. So, good afternoon.
Merhaba, that means hello in Turkish.
Because we're learning Turkish now, aren't we?
Because now we're in Turkey.
Yeah. So it's about 6 p.m. or 6:30 here, which would be about, it's 1:30 in the morning. So last we spoke, which was episode 3, we were in Jaipur in India. Well, we're not in India anymore.
We're in Turkey.
Yes. So after Jaipur, we went to Udaipur, which is a nice place, and we did a big chairlift right to the top of the mountain.
And we explored the temple. It was so cool. We could see all the houses.
And the
then we
lakes.
looked down at the lakes. We saw all the boats.
And we actually took a boat ride, and it was all around the castles that were in the middle of the lake, weren't they?
Yeah.
Like the king's palaces that were
Yeah,
in the
like
middle of the
king's
lakes.
palaces, yeah.
We did your favourite thing.
We did our first camel ride.
Camel
and our
ride.
camel ride was really cool. So first it went me, Dad who was holding onto my back, and then Daddy who was holding onto Dad.
And we went for about half an hour up the road and back.
And Dad giggled all the way.
She did. She thought it was so much fun.
And I liked it a lot.
It was cool. So after Udaipur, we went to another place called Jodhpur. And we went to Merengue Fort. Merengue Fort was cool. It was right up at the top of the mountain overlooking the city. It was a really old fort, I think about 800 years old or something like that.
Yeah.
And it was made of big, big blocks, and it was pretty cool, wasn't it?
Yeah.
We saw a lot of forts when we were in India. We went out into the desert to Jaisalmer, which is right next to the border of Pakistan. So the hotel we were staying at was made of these huge, big blocks. It was kind of like a castle, really, wasn't it?
Kind of like a castle.
And you loved people there, didn't you? The brothers. And we were sitting on the roof, and we're sitting on a roof here today as well. But on the roof there had a massive desert behind. We'll flick up the picture in a second, and it had a big temple right behind us. We did the best thing. We had one of the best days we've had in India, full stop. After about 2 or 3 days, we went right out into the desert, the real desert,
And
with
then-
just sand and nothing else.
Yes. And it was really cool. It was like a tent we slept in.
What we did is we went right out into the desert in the back of a 4-wheel drive, flying down the road really, really fast. No seatbelts, nothing.
That was a bit crying. She didn't really like it.
No, over the sand dunes, and then we kind of stopped in the middle of the desert about an hour before sunset, wasn't it?
And we saw all the camels.
We saw the camels, and then we decided we were going to take a 4-wheel drive dirt bike. Sophia and myself went on one with a driver, and Mum and Daphne went on another one, and they had a pretty easy ride because Daphne's only 2 and they took a lot of care. But for us, it was full speed, wasn't it? And what did they do?
They tried to scare us, and they
Oh.
went up the hill, down the hill, up the hill, and it actually scared me.
Over big cliffs, just right up the top of the sand dune, and then straight there. But then when we got to the other side of the desert, he said, "You want to drive?" And we drove, didn't we?
Yeah, we drove.
That was
and-
pretty cool.
And we'll put up a video or photo or something.
It was probably about 20 minutes until sunset. And what did we do then?
We went on a camel ride.
And that was so cool, wasn't it? We went on one, and Mum and Daphne went on another one. And here's some pictures.
Hi guys, we're on the camel and a beautiful sunset. And today we're in the desert. There's
This
a
is
lot of
Rajasthan.
Rajasthan in India.
That we came home in the back of the 4-wheel drive and had the music pumping, and it was
music
bouncing up and down.
It felt like
A party, wasn't it?
it felt like actually a party and actually Family Adventure Channel movies.
After that, we were just about finished, and we went by car back to Jodhpur, and then we took an overnight train to Mumbai. And we stayed in Mumbai for about 5 days, didn't we? And what do you
Yeah.
think of Mumbai?
Mumbai was actually pretty modern and everyone kind of looked like us because it had shirts, shorts, and long pants.
Yeah, because we'd gone from most of India where everyone was kind of covered up and a lot more traditional. A lot of the ladies in Jaisalmer had just the dresses with only the eyes. You could see it was the full black formal dresses. You couldn't see anything. They covered their entire body. And then we went to Mumbai, where the women there were basically in short shorts and short t-shirts with bare midriffs. And yeah, same country, just very, very different culture.
And then we went to the airport to go to Egypt.
We did, and we stopped at Kuwait on the way there. Middle East, we went to Kuwait, and then on to Cairo, which is in Egypt. First day there, we went to the Grand Egyptian Museum, which is pretty cool. What do you think?
I thought it was actually very nice.
It was big, wasn't it? Very big museum. Brand new. It took 20 years to make, so it's still not fully open. They only had one really big display, but it was still pretty amazing. And we went and saw the pyramids, didn't we?
Yes, but the only problem is we didn't get to see the pyramids, no photos, not the Sphinx.
Yeah, we just
Didn't
got
even
off
get
the...
to touch it, not climb it, not go inside.
Yes, we got off the bus, and as soon as we got off the bus, the police came up and said, no, everything's closed, you need to get back on the bus, and they took us to the end.
So this is like us. Bus, one step off, nope, go back on the bus.
Yeah, that was it. So that was a bit disappointing, but we still got to see the pyramids, which is kind of cool, and the Sphinx from the bus, I suppose. But we had something up our sleeve, which is really, really good, and that was a tour of Egypt. We caught a plane all the way down to a place called Aswan, which is right down the bottom of Egypt.
And then the next day we stayed in Aswan, and then we went on a fluke ride on the Nile River.
It was really cool. So a fluke is not like the big boats that they've got 20,000 million people on. It was just us.
Just us.
And a chef, and a captain, and an assistant captain. And it was so cool, wasn't it?
And there's something really funny. So Mummy was asking Daddy. She said, Hon, I need you. And then
Honey.
She said, honey, I need you. Because that's what Mummy actually calls Daddy. And then the captain thought that Honey was Daddy's name, so he started calling Daddy Honey.
So for the rest of the trip, I was Honey. Our felucca went to a temple called Kum Ombo Temple, and it was really good. It wasn't massive, but it was still pretty amazing, and a lot of really amazing colour, and it was about 3,000 years old. It was pretty incredible. And then we took a bus to Edfu, which is just a little bit bigger temple, a little bit more colour, a bit more hieroglyphics, and it was pretty amazing, wasn't it?
And a bit more statues.
Yes, and then we took a bus to Luxor, which was really good. We stayed at this amazing hotel. What was the hotel like?
It was really cool because guess what it had? It had animals inside, but not every type of animal. Guess what it had? Real flamingos, real peacocks.
Just wandering around the gardens, and they were amazing gardens. It was the best garden in Egypt, apparently, and I don't think they were wrong.
And also, the next day we woke up, had breakfast, then we went to go somewhere, and then when we came back, we went to go see the peacock before we went for a swim in the huge pool. That's how I'm going to describe it.
Yep.
And then we saw the peacock spreading its feathers.
The next day when we woke up in Luxor on this incredible hotel...
Oh, and I forgot to say, here's a photo.
So the next day we went to Luxor Temple, didn't we?
Luxor Temple, yes.
Which is really cool, and that was a bit bigger again.
A bit bigger.
And a bit taller and a bit older. And then we went to Karnak, which is just incredible. It was probably the biggest one we went to, and it was about 4,000 years old, and it was just, I can't even describe it, it was that incredible, wasn't it? Some of the statues were about 6 or 7 stories high, had all these obelisks that were massive. Yeah, ruins just everywhere. It was incredible. So the next day we went to the Valley of the Kings, and we went down 4 tombs, and actually in the tombs.
Yes, we went inside the tombs. It was so cool.
It was all colourful. All the colours were still there. Yeah.
All the colourful was still there, even though it was a bit old, but there was still colour there.
Yes, and then we went to the Valley of the Queens, and then we went to the Valley of the Nobles. So we saw a lot, didn't we? And then finally we got an overnight train back to Cairo.
And then we finally went back to the pyramids, got a horsey up, we touched the pyramids, got some photos, and here's a photo. Cha-ching!
And we went to the old museum too, and that was really cool. What was your best favourite thing in the old museum?
I like the mummies, the pharaohs, we saw Tutankhamun, did we see Nefertiti?
No, but we saw baby mummies.
We saw baby mummies, kids mummies, just kind of like us. And then we saw also teenage mummies.
And real mummies, actual real mummies that were 4,000 years old.
Some of the vases were even broken so you could see the bodies. Here's a photo.
So after all that 2 weeks in Egypt, we flew to Istanbul.
Where we are now.
This is Istanbul.
And there's one thing about this. Mummy always wanted to visit Europe.
We landed in Asia
Yeah, we
and then
landed in
drove
Asia.
to Europe.
And then we drove to Europe, and Mummy was so excited because she's always wanted to be to Europe.
So we went from
Europe.
Africa
Yeah, we
to
went
Asia to Europe, all in one day. 3 continents in one day. Really cool. It's cold here though. We didn't know it was going to be so cold.
That's
Yeah.
why I've got a beanie.
We bought the beanie, we bought some clothes. We've seen Hagia Sophia, which is an incredible mosque. Here it is now.
Good.
And then we went to the Grand Bazaar in Istanbul, which is probably the biggest market we've ever seen in our life, wasn't it?
It was so cool, and that's where I bought this beanie.
Yeah, and they had everything for sale, didn't they?
They had everything.
You could have walked for hours and still not seen the whole thing. It was just huge. Istanbul's been pretty amazing. We've been here for about 5 days now. So we're going to fly off to a place called Antalya tomorrow, which is the very bottom of Turkey. And we're going to see what that's all about. And then we're going to work our way back through Troy and Pamukkale, Gallipoli, and see all that. We missed Anzac Day by about 1 day, but we also missed an earthquake by 1 day, so we think that's pretty fair.
Yeah, we think that's pretty fair.
But Istanbul's been pretty amazing, Turkey's been amazing, and we're really enjoying the last few months.
Mostly, what I'm excited about is there's a lot of cats.
Oh, there's a lot of cats here. There are so many cats. We counted 20 cats before we got to the end of our street today. It was amazing. Yes, my dear.
Can I say something to them?
Yes.
Even though yesterday a cat scratched me on my hand, it really hurt.
But you still love the cats. From Istanbul, this is Sofia and Steve signing off. We'll see you again in a couple of weeks. Hopefully you had great school holidays.
And I hope to see you in about the next year.
Yeah, we'll see you next year. And we'll
And-
keep doing these things, and hopefully you keep watching. We'll keep making them.
And more surprises in 5 days.
So,
And there's one more thing. Remember, I always miss you guys.
see you soon.
Ta-ta!
Bye-bye.
The mosque we've been talking about, everybody.
Well, one of them. This is just a small one. You can see in the background, there's hundreds